Life has a way of connecting people in unexpected ways. During a recent move, I had a chance to meet Brandon Lawson, and my husband said, "Will you let the guy just move you? Just let it move you." But of course, I like to talk to people and get to know people. And while talking to Brandon, I was so inspired by his story, and I thought that it would be one that would be worthwhile to share with others. And when I shared that idea with him, he invited in some of the folks that have been instrumental along his journey as well. Today, we're going to be talking about life after incarceration, and hopefully you'll hear something in today's conversation that connects with you or someone that you know, and hopefully reminds them and encourages them to stay on their path and stay connected to those people, those resources, those opportunities that are pushing them forward into what might be dreams coming true, unexpected achievements, accomplishments, and a life that maybe they once could never imagine living. I'm going to play a quick intro here to give a few more folks a chance to join us, and then we're going to launch into the conversation from there.
I always like to create an environment where people feel comfortable to ask questions. You don't always know what you don't know. You may not have it all figured out today, and that's okay. Taking one step at a time, those glimmers become a consistent light. It all finally begins to click. Each and every moment that you experience is shaping the person you are in this life to be.
Sometimes our pain points go all the way back to childhood.
What if I allowed myself to imagine a life that was more spacious and expansive than the one I'm living?
What if I don't have to live the same way that everyone else is living?
When you are authentic, your energy changes and the people around you change. It's just like doors just start opening. You're like, well, wait, how did this happen? How did this happen? How did this happen? You're showing up completely different.
And often it does require healing and going in some uncomfortable spaces before we can truly flourish.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining me for Let's Chat Life After Incarceration. I'm going to go ahead and bring up our guest for today. We have the man who inspired this conversation for us, Brandon Lawson. He is a family man, a Bears fan, and I can't wait to hear from you tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And then we have Sean here, Sean Higgins, CEO of Daymakers Moving and Storage. Thanks for being here today, Sean. We also have Julie here, Julie Smith, owner of Onyx Sober Living. Thanks for being here as well. And we have Marcel Hofker, owner of Strive Staffing. Marcel, thanks for joining us today. And then last but not least, we have the awesome Crystal Hill-Hover. She is MBA, CPRS, CEO of Twin Cities Wellness Center and Recovery Gym, lady of many hats. Thank you all so much for being here. Now, Brandon, I'm going to start with you because I know you're on a job and you're going to have to leave us a little earlier. So you're what inspired this conversation. Tell me for starters, congratulations. Where are you in your journey? How many months now?
I have let's see, May 25th is my sober date. So I'm just about 6 months short of 3 years.
3 years. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
awesome. And to look at where you are now compared to where you were, how proud are you when you look at this moment?
I'm extremely grateful. There's just a lot of grace. I made a lot of bad decisions in my life that were probably influenced by some traumatic experiences when I was younger. But it just took for me to realize that regardless of the cards I was dealt, I just gotta put them to the side and go and draw some new cards. And the pivotal point was when I realized that most of my problems were conditions of my decision making and how I viewed life, and I just chose to just try to be positive, try to change the way I looked at things. And I know it's a cliche, but the things I looked at slowly began to change. And then I just tried to surround myself with a lot of loving people, and that love that emanated into my heart from Sean and Julie, and even from my probation officers when I was incarcerated, treating me like a human being. Things just slowly started to change. And like in your intro, I think when you're authentic, it really does change the things that happen in your life. But I'm not confused about this. It's all a grace thing. I feel like I've earned a spot, in my recovery, but I just feel like it's just a graceful opportunity that I didn't necessarily deserve, that the universe gave me, that God gave me, and I'm just trying to make the best of it,
And can you talk a little bit about how did you end up along the path that you were on? What did you serve time for? And then the support of your family in this process, how instrumental has that been in you staying on the track that you're on?
Well, it started with addiction, and addiction led to various crimes that were drug related, thefts, identity theft for writing bad checks. And it basically just stemmed into, just random, what they would call smaller crimes. And when I went to courts, they gave me 5 years in, 5 years out, with an opportunity to, do some treatment. And my girlfriend stuck with me the entire time, made sure that I got to see my daughter, on every visit. The phone calls really helped. And then I just, I signed up for every Bible study. I signed up for every single program available to try to get as much knowledge and information as I possibly could to try to change my, just try to change my criminal thinking. And those places led me to, those groups led me to treatment, and I did the treatment for the RP program in Wisconsin, and they put me in the position with some really caring people there. And those people worked hand in hand my entire incarceration with my probation officer. My probation officer went against my original choice on where to go, and recommended Onyx Sober Living because of how beautiful it is. It went against what I believed. I thought that I could go somewhere else and get kind of a geographical change to really help me. She thought it was the best idea, and it's been the most beautiful thing. And Onyx led me to Sean led me to you, and it's just beautiful how everything comes to fruition.
Yes, that's amazing. And for you, do you remember that exact moment when you told yourself, I can't keep living like this anymore? Like, what were you doing? What was that moment? Where were you?
I had a lot of those moments when I was using. I've always had a conscience, no matter how bad I was into my addiction. The things that I were doing really resonated on my conscience, and I just, for whatever reason, I just couldn't stop doing the things that I was doing. I would make it a few days, or you know what I mean, and then I would go back to using again. And God just gave me a conscience, and for whatever reason, it ate at me so much to where when I finally got arrested and I went to court, numerous courts, just constant, you know, is it going to be this much time? Is it going to be that much time? And then going through my pre-sentence investigation was really opened a lot of past traumas. And I want to say the moment where I noticed the most was when I was in Dodge Correctional Center, and you're pretty much on lockdown the entire time. And I was in there for Christmas, so it was, you know, it was just the holidays. Everything really got to me, and they take your communication away from you there for the, you know, for the 2 or 3 weeks you're there. And that communication caused some bumps in me and Brianna's relationship. And I'd say it was probably the end of February by the time I got to the prison I was going to. And when I got to that prison and was able to really talk with Brianna about some things that were going on and how I was feeling, and, you know, what I wanted, that was pretty much the pivotal point. It was somewhere around Valentine's Day. And then Brianna just made sure that she stuck through and allowed me to see Cadence, or allowed me to talk to Cadence every single day on the phone. It was just really, you know, knowing that you have people that care about you out there really is what made the difference. And just, you know, on Christmas, when you're not there with your daughter who's 1 year old, or first Christmas and you're missing it, it's kind of like, you know, man, what am I doing? So I just decided to, you know, really just take a hard look at what was going on. And, you know, I just realized that all my prejudices that I had, all my, you know, dislike for certain demographics of people because of their charges and all those things that, you know, fueled so much bad energy in me. I just realized that I had to just let those things go. And it was in letting those things go and just focusing on what I had in front of me, you know, it really was the game changer. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. You got some great comments of support. And I want to share, anyone that's watching, if you hear something that resonates with you or connects with you, post it in the comments below, and we'll be able to pop that up on the screen and share with anyone that you're hearing from tonight. I'm sure they would love the support as well, and to know that something they're sharing is resonating with you too. Brian Pearson says, great job, Brandon, love you. Logan says, yay, Brandon Lawson, I love you, brother. And Leah Danielle says, wow, what a testimony. Thank you all so much for weighing in there and sharing your perspectives. I know, Sean, you are a big piece of Brandon's story and part of why I actually was able to meet Brandon. He was one of your workers. And one of the things when I was reading about you is you really focus on people and creating experiences that move people forward. You have people that work for you, but you want them to find and grow skills that can help them throughout life. I'll go ahead and share a couple more comments. And then before I talk to you, I'll play the video that I saw from you today that I wanted to share to give people a little more insight on you and Daymakers moving and storage. Quickly, fantastic testimony, Brandon. That's from Jenny. And we also have Fonda here. Good luck on your endeavor. All right, wonderful. All right. Yes. So I'm going to share this video here. This is Sean's story about Daymakers moving and storage.
A few years back, I was working for a different moving company, and I started to see that customers and employees were just treated like numbers. Like it was just another day on the job. Not that it was a big impactful part of this person's life that's going on, that it was stressful for them because they were moving their entire life to a new location, everything they had worked for. And I started to really get tore up inside about that. I started to think, like, there's got to be a better way to do this. There's got to be more to the moving industry than just pick up a box, drop it off, and go on with your day. This was a very important and crucial time in a person's life, and we really wanted to be involved in a positive way.
We were looking for ways to give back to our community, and not just through services, but to truly impact people's lives. And so we decided that after reading a book called The Life of a Daymaker, we wanted to figure out what could we do in the moving industry, which ends up being one of the top 5 most stressful events in any person's life. What could we do to help alleviate some of that stress and to truly make people's day through that process, to positively impact their moving experience, but also have great employees who impact the community.
And having great employees was a big deal because I was sick of the way I was being treated. I decided that the people that work for Daymakers Moving and Storage were going to be more than just a way of making money. It was going to be a way to impact their life positively. We decided to implement creative ways to show them that there are skills you can get in the moving industry that you can take anywhere in life, as well as being generous in the way we compensate, as well as with our time. They're more than just employees to us. They're team members, and they know they can come to us for anything. So we quickly found out when you have a heart for your employees, they have a heart for your customers. And our biggest struggle became how do we keep up with the growth and the work that was coming our way. With the 5-star reviews that were rolling in on Google and Yelp and Facebook and HomeAdvisor, we really couldn't keep up with the work that we had coming in. Because we were committed to growing a company that went the extra mile, we realized that that was going to create more opportunity and success for long-term growth than anything else we could. We were committed to creating a place that grew people instead of a place that grew profits and bank accounts. Because we discovered the value of putting people first, not only our customers but our employees, we have a company that we're proud of.
Now we're living the dream and able to give back to our community every single day.
No matter what Libby and I face, we are determined to put customer satisfaction and employee satisfaction above anything else, especially profits. We have made it our mission to change people's perspective on what moving should be. Stress-free, fast, and fun. And that's why we're passionate about Daymakers Moving and Storage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, such a great story. Can you tell me, Sean, how you and Brandon connected and how you have been able to be a part of his journey?
You know, I'm pretty sure that me and Brandon connected through Julie at the Onyx House. You know, I'm a CEO of a moving company by day, pastor by night, so I run a church as well. And Brandon happened to be coming out to that church. Julie had been coming out to that church, and she kind of hooked us up there. We've been known at Daymakers for being a second chance, sometimes 40 chance employment place, but just a place where people can come and get on their feet. It's a good paying job. Obviously, people aren't like dying to become movers, so it's a great place for somebody who comes out of incarceration to get back on their feet, put some money in their bank account, and get out and on their way. So Julie hooked us up, and he's been all-star employee ever since.
And what has the journey of starting Daymakers Moving and the relationships you've been able to build with your employees like Brandon taught you about the value of taking that idea you had and creating it? Because a lot of times people will have an idea for something and they just sit on it, but you're actually, you know, changing lives just by having the courage and the willingness to not just sit on this idea about the moving company, but to actually go do it.
It really all depends. There's a couple different ways to go about anything in life. And when people start a business, a lot of times they're in it for profit. I mean, obviously you have to make money to have a business. That's a big deal. But when my wife and I got in this, we always had the dream of doing some sort of ministry or giving back to the community in any way possible. And we didn't want to be dependent on donations or anything like that. So we thought, like, let's start a business. At the time I was a mover, so I envisioned that I was probably just going to drive my own truck for a couple days a week. And it turned into this thing. And I think a big part of it is because we're not driven by products or by profits. And in 2021, there's, you know, a lot of people aren't in the game for money anymore. They're in the game for, like, how can we make the world around us a better place? And when you tap into that river, it flows pretty fast. You know, it's people get attracted to it pretty quick, and the next thing you know, a lot's going on, and we're pretty grateful for that. Like I said in the video, a mentor of mine says, his name's Bill Johnson. He says, I'm not in it for growing big organizations. I'm in it for growing big people. And what better reward than to look at someone like Brandon? You know, I get to see him every Sunday with his family, hugging his daughter, being a dad, having money to put Christmas presents under the tree. I mean, that's the ultimate reward. That's the ultimate profit in my book. And if we can do that every day, every month, every year, we're winning, in my opinion.
And just to see Brandon's growth and progress since you all have connected, I mean, how does that make you feel, knowing that you've been a part of that, but just to see how he's evolved since coming on board with you?
You know, it is a, when you're in the business, like, and Julie, I'm sure will talk about this, when you're in the business of working with people who are in Brandon's situation, not everybody comes out of it and succeeds in the end. There's a lot of heartache. There's a lot of you know, sometimes you get stabbed in the back. You know, if you looked at me, I might have a few knives still hanging in there. It just happens, but you keep putting yourself out on the line, because when you finally do get to run into someone like Brandon, who sees the opportunity, who wants to change, who really is passionate about putting his old life behind him. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's ecstatic, and it makes it all worth it in the end. So absolutely wonderful to see that.
That's awesome. I'm going to quickly share 3 more comments. And I know, Brandon, you may have to take off soon, but I do want to share these. Callie says, we're so proud of you, Brandon. Josh and Callie, I'm proud of you, Brandon, and you have had a positive impact on so many people, from Matt Inland. And then Marge says, human dignity, thanks for making a difference. Thank you all for commenting as well. Julie, I'll go ahead and bring you in, as well, as you've been part of Brandon's journey and his story. Tell me how you all connected, and we'll talk a little bit about Onyx Sober Living. You're actually a registered nurse, but addiction has been a part of your family's story too.
Yes, it has. I will start with how I met Brandon. He actually called me from prison and inquired about Onyx. Very much was like, my PO says I have to do this instead of doing what I want to do, but let's give it a shot. So he called me with a lot of lead time. I think it was probably 4 months before he was getting out. And I can't always guarantee that I'm going to have a, how long was it, Brandon? 4 months?
I called you at least 5 times.
He called me at least 5 times. It's true. And when it started to get closer, I was like, you just have to call me 2 weeks before you know. And he didn't really know. There's a lot of uncertainty when you are coming out of being incarcerated. You don't always know when you're getting out, where you're going to go. So he kept calling, and he was like, I think I'm getting out next week. And I'm like, I'll hold a bed. And so that is how our first interactions went, was on the phone in, like 2-minute phone calls of just checking in. When he finally came to the house, very nervous, but also super ready to do something different with his life. He was ready. And you don't always see that in doing what we do. And he listened and took suggestions and just did whatever anybody asked him to do. He was willing to do it. When he hooked into Daymakers, I was just like, oh yeah, this guy's going to make it, because he's at Onyx and he's got Daymakers. So it's the best of both worlds when you're coming out of jail or incarceration and trying to put your pieces back together. So yeah, that's how I met him.
And tell me, why is it that you say that if he has Onyx and Daymakers, he's going to make it? What is it about that partnership that's so critical to success?
Well, we just all like each other a lot. No. Some of what makes it successful is, so my husband and I started Onyx we started in 2018. And what we do is provide safe, sober housing with structure for people who are trying to put their pieces back together. Sending them out to Daymakers, I know that it is a solid job. I know the owner is really motivated to help people and give them second chances or 40th chances, like he said. And it pays well, which is awesome, because it's not always easy to find a good paying job when you have a criminal past. There are not many jobs out there, not many employers who will take a chance on people. So knowing that he got into a situation with Daymakers, that was just an added bonus. And he came in right away, got a job right away.
And I'm sharing some of the graphics here about Onyx. When we originally connected, you were telling me how quickly Onyx has been able to grow. Just in a few years in Wisconsin, you've been able to fill a huge gap when it comes to sober living availability. You've grown from 1 house to 5 in 3 years and added 2 units for families in recovery. So you're continuing to grow and continuing to fulfill that need there. To see how quickly you've been able to grow and evolve and provide those services, what has this journey taught you?
So I will I will start with I was working as a nurse manager in a treatment facility in Minnesota. I did that for about 3 years, and my husband and I built a house, and we were trying to decide what to do with our old house, and he wanted to rent it, and I wanted to start sober housing. When I started researching that in this region, Wisconsin's treatment services are not great here, and there were very, very few safe houses for people to come and recover from addiction. So we decided to start it in our old house, and then before we opened, we bought a second house without even knowing if it was going to work out or not work out. Within a couple of months, both houses were up and running and full. And so we ended up buying a duplex in Somerset. We bought a house in Amory. We bought another house in New Richmond, and we just closed on a house in Menominee. In doing the research around this, as I dug into the resources in Wisconsin, I realized that safe, sober housing is the #2 gap in care for people struggling with addiction. And so we just decided to push it forward and start filling that gap as best we can, and giving people a safe place where they can actually dig into, why they are using in the first place and heal those pieces and get surrounded with a whole bunch of people who love them. That's our mission.
That's awesome. I'm going to share a couple of comments here. Fonda says there is more need of resources for reentry programs for incarcerated individuals. And then Amy says, Onyx Sober Living changes lives. Julie, you are a ray of sunshine to everyone you touch. That's wonderful.
It's true. It's very true.
Oh, thank you.
And Brandon, if you have to dip out at any moment, feel free to do so. I don't want to keep you too long, but I will go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I got 2 minutes, so can I just say bye to everybody? And
yes, go right ahead, and we'll launch into Marcel and Crystal here in just a moment.
All right, awesome. Well, first, I'm so grateful to be a part of this conversation. I can't wait to get home and watch the other 2 people speak. That's going to be awesome. I love you, Julie. I love you, Sean. I love you, Shayla. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's truly a blessing, and just so much grace emanates from your heart, Shayla. It was amazing to have that initial conversation. This has been just as amazing. Thank you so much to Brianna, my girlfriend, Brianna, my parole officer, and Cassie, my parole officer. They have been instrumental, and without all this, everybody else, it's those 3 people I have to have good relationships with, and by them treating me like a human being and also being stern and not letting me get too much responsibility, keeping my plate, nice and balanced. It's really enabled me to blossom. And Living Word Chapel, love it. It's amazing. I'm grateful. Now I'm going to go back into the beautiful weather to finish the move for an elderly lady who needs my help.
That's awesome. She needs you. That's great.
Brandon,
thanks so much.
I
appreciate you.
Thank her for letting me come do this. So.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome.
All right. God
right,
bless you guys. Thank you so much for everything.
Yes, bye. Take care. Thanks so much. All right. Yes. Thank you for joining us. And Marcel and Crystal, I'm so excited to talk to you both today. Marcel, I learned about from another participant in Let's Chat, and he said, and I love when people do this, they'll say like, well, if I'm coming, can I bring someone else too? And so he sent me a message and said, I know about Crystal. And so I was like, bring her. Like, I love to meet new people and connect and create space for conversation. So Marcel, I'm going to start with you. And I've had you on my radar. I remember the first message of yours on social media that I saw, like the first post where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for him. It was actually, and then I started reading some of the others that you posted. It was the one about your business expanding and manifesting a goal that you had. Can you talk a little bit about this? This was on July 22nd. You had posted, today marks the culmination of a goal manifested. Today's Strive Staffing in partnership with Marsden Building Maintenance starts providing workers to Target Field. And this has really been over 5 years. Your life looks completely different now. And can you talk about what it means to be where you are and the journey that you're on now? Just complete turnaround when you think of everything you've been through over the last 20 years to get to now.
Well, it comes down to I really appreciate myself for giving myself a chance. That's the one thing, because if I've disappointed everybody in my life, but the one person that I disappoint every time is myself, right? Every time I've tried to get sober, you know, and I would relapse, I would just feel that disappointment in self, you know. So I just continuously let myself down, you know. And I just don't give up, right? I have an aunt that died of ovarian cancer, and, you know, we made the bracelets for her, and it said, never, never, never give up. And now I have that tattooed on my arm, and that's just what it is. You know, I worked at Hennepin County Detox for 4 years. I saw what most people would call hopeless. And, you know, I saw some of these people turn themselves around and get, you know, put years and years of recovery together. So I don't know if I believe in hopeless. What it means to be where I am today is amazing. Like I said, just a career of building up big, beautiful expectations and then just destroying them. You know, I was a meth and heroin user for 20 years. And the only thing that stopped me was going to prison. You know, the only thing, I mean, to not catch a felony until you're 38, you know, and to finally catch your first one, and it's a big one, and you're going to prison, you're definitely going to prison, you know. That drive to court for sentencing was my day of surrender. And that's the day I really decided, you know, I'm not going to push against the COs. I'm not going to push against the system. I'm just going to, sir, yes, sir, I'll do what I need to do. And that surrender has really gone through a lot of other parts of my life. You know, I knew I was an addict forever, you know, for most of my drug use, but I never knew the steps. I couldn't take the steps to change it. I kept doing treatment. I've been to like 10 treatments, you know, but it's just that I never had whatever I had on that day going to court. You know what I mean? I just didn't have that. And prison was amazing. I went through the CIP program. On a 58-month sentence, I did 10 months total, and then a year on ISR, which out of 16 people in my boot camp squad, there's 2 of us that didn't go back to prison. So it's just that commitment to change. You know, we have to learn. I'm going to sound. It was such a big period of my life, but I can't remember how many things we had to learn. But we had to learn like the commitment to change. You know, we had to have these lines down packed. But that commitment to change, I bought into that. You know, I really did, and I started to like myself. I started to do things of and for myself that I had never done before. And I just had an eye on the prize. I've been told forever, you know, you could do so much more. You have a lot of potential. You got a lot of potential. But, you know, my drug addiction was my solution. My chemicals were my solution. So I could have all the potential in the world, but until I fixed whatever it was, or, you know, the things that really kept me in there, you know, my drugs were my solution to not fitting in. I grew up in the suburbs, you know, half black, half white, discovered some things, you know, had friends that were friends up until there was an argument, and then they would call me out of my name, and drugs found my lane. I found my lane with doing and selling drugs. And all of a sudden I was wanted. I felt like I was part of something then. And my solution lasted for, 20 some odd years. And I don't know, I found something else.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
And yes, and congratulations to you for finding this something else that has really changed your life. I mean, you're now a successful business owner, you're changing lives, putting other people to work, and creating opportunities for others who may be in a place where you once were. To be able to give back in that way, what has that meant to you?
I don't know. That's like faith, right? That's what's opening more possibilities for me. The doors are opening because I'm being of service. I don't think there's really anything else. If I was doing something just to make money for myself, I don't think I'd have success. I don't think I'd find purpose and as much joy in it as I do. To be able to tell somebody that knows that they're coming in for that job interview and they're not going to get the job because they got a background. And when I sit down and I just talk with them, I say, I'm going to hire you. What's on your background? And they tell me, and I'm just like, I don't care. I'll find a spot for you. There's obviously some cases more difficult than others, but to really be able to help somebody out that's really trying to do something different, I don't know, that it just keeps opening doors. That's really all I can say about it. It really just keeps opening doors for me.
And it's got to be amazing for someone when they hear you say, I'll find a spot for you. You don't know how many doors maybe were closed to them before they ran into you. And just to know, okay, this one's finally going to open. Maybe 9 closed, but the 10th one is going to open. Just to know that you're a part of that and you're creating that open door that may change their life. It probably comes in part from being at a place of knowing what it feels to have those shut doors and someone not answering, to just be able to be the person that's going to open that door for someone else.
Well, I didn't have, I'll tell you this, I wasn't a felon until late in my life. So I didn't really live with that mark to find a job. And somebody gave me the opportunity straight out of prison, and they gave me an opportunity and I ran with it. And I kept impressing myself, like, wow, you're doing this. You're working a regular job.
Yeah.
Like that's an amazing thing. Like I enjoy going to work, and then I got some responsibility and I love leading people. I love, managing people. If done the right way, it's really enjoyable,
And you've had some really awesome things happen. I know we mentioned off the top the partnership now that allows you to staff workers for Target Field, but you also over the summer, July, you were celebrating becoming a homeowner. And just what that meant to you. You shared, I finally gave myself a chance at life. I and all the prayer warriors in my life fought so hard to get this ship righted, fighting and struggling with myself through all the shame, self-loathing, guilt, and the utter hopelessness to make a change. For years, I would be disgusted with my life as it was. Couldn't die yet. I wasn't living. I'm grateful to all the forces that came together and helped me over that self-will wall into a spirit of love for self. To be able to call yourself a homeowner, what was that moment like? And was that kind of surreal to be taking that step, or how did it feel?
Oh, it was surreal. I mean, just to get approved was amazing, just to get approved and to, I don't know, just amazing. My wife is also in recovery. She's now experienced the last 4, almost 5 years of recovery, and first time in her life ever having that much time. We're both experiencing life for the first time together, and it's been amazing. Sometimes we have to pinch ourselves and just be like, I can't believe it could be like this, because we just lived in our disease so 24/7, 365. That pretty much the only thing you think the outcome's going to be is death, and to have life now in abundance has just been, it's amazing.
Yeah. And to know that you're worthy of it, you're deserving of all the good things that are happening now.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, and I want to transition to you to bring you in as well, Crystal. When you talk about celebrating accomplishments, one of your posts, it really stuck with me. This was just over the holidays recently. You were sharing sixth Thanksgiving as a grateful, sober chick. Sixth as Thanksgiving as a grateful, sober chick. Fifth Thanksgiving as a free woman. Fourth Thanksgiving as a mother present full time in my little guy's life. Third Thanksgiving as an honored wife. And this is the first time since I was 12 years old that I've spent 3 sober Thanksgivings in a row with my beautiful mother. To be able to post that and share that and be in the space that you are in, can you talk about just what do you feel when you think about the journey you've been on and where you are now?
Oh, gosh. I'm mind blown. I'm grateful. And reading that post, God, I don't know. It's just, since I got out of prison, I've been very transparent with my life. And the idea was to show people that change is possible, because I know what seeing somebody else change that was in a similar position as I used to be was, like, what that did for me. It gave me hope. And that's just been my mission since then. And yeah.
And let's, I'm going to share another graphic here. You shared kind of like a little bit about your journey, your experience. In another post from November, you said you're so grateful, 25 plus years dealing with bulimia, and just as many years shooting, snorting, smoking meth and heroin destroyed your teeth. As a result, you had to have so many of them pulled and feel the humiliation, the uncomfort, the wrecking to your self-confidence. But now that you are sober, you're determined, amazing dentist technology, and a husband who is very supportive of you. You can sit here smiling ear to ear, confident that the smile you have now is forever. And it's a testament to where you are and all the things that you've been through that didn't completely break you. Like, you've survived 100% of the things that you weren't sure that you would.
Yes, I have. And I think it's really important for other people to see that, you know, like, even as now a CEO of a treatment center, what I love the most is that clients come in and they've got issues with their teeth, and I can tell them my story and they don't feel so bad about it. And there's probably a list a mile long of things that I could relate to them with. And because I can say I was there and now I'm here, I get to give them hope.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Alita says, incredible. Greg says, yay, Crystal, I'm so blessed to be a part of your treatment center. You are a leader like no other. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
and
Greg.
Yes, and I want to share as well, you have spent several months getting to the place of starting the treatment center, the center that you have now opened. And you had a couple of really great posts on that I wanted to share with everyone. This one was on getting your license back in December. Talk about that moment when you finally, when you found out, like, this thing I've been working on is going to happen.
Oh my gosh, talk about the most complex, hardest, difficult business to open. It's this one right here. We went through so much to open up those doors, you know, and when we finally got word from the city that we were going to be able to do it, it was like, I don't know. And then finding out that I have a DHS 245G licensed treatment center in my name is like, I don't even know. Thinking about it right now, it almost makes me speechless, because it's just like, it's unbelievable. You know, I am a 2-time first-degree felon. I just got off parole in July, and now there's this. So,
and you're about to be a doctor too, right? You're going to school for your MBA, or you've completed it. Are you Dr. Hover yet? I saw that on your feed.
Yeah. No, not yet. I actually got my GED in prison the first time when I was pregnant, incarcerated. And when I was released, I reoffended and went back to prison. And after I got out the second time, a month into treatment, I enrolled in school full time. And I ended up with my master's degree in 4.5 years in business.
Wow.
All from a simple
Wow.
counselor in boot camp saying, I want you to take that intelligence of yours and I want you to do something good with it rather than selling drugs. And that's stuck with me ever since.
Yeah.
And how important has it been? And I'll ask you this, Marcel, too, just having somebody in your life, if it be one person or several people that just say, I believe in you. I know that you can be more than what you're showing me. I know that that's in you. And I believe it's there. Crystal, for you, what just having someone in your life that said, I see more in you than maybe you see in yourself right now, that spawned this whole educational journey for you in a way.
It is. I was, you know, broken down to nothing in boot camp, and gratefully the COs that were there on the treatment team, they, you know, as much as I couldn't stand them the first 3 months, I grew to love them and appreciate them because of what they were doing. And that was building us up. And everything so many of the things that they said to me have stuck with me and impacted me greatly. And then the people coming out that, you know, in treatment, there's a few of them that I'm still, you know, are still a huge part of my life and support. But yeah, it's having people believe in you and saying they're proud of you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just that positive reinforcement, it can make such a difference. Can you talk about that for you, Marcel, just having people in your life that sort of countered maybe what you told yourself? Like if you're telling yourself, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, and you have someone come into your life that's interrupting that messaging to say, I believe you can. What has that influence had on your journey and your ability to reach for and believe that some of the dreams that you have can become real? I see you're a member of the Dreamer Club, reading your sweatshirt.
Oh,
yeah.
My family has always been there for me. I didn't reach out for them. I didn't really use a lot of support for them. I didn't use them as a fallback. But, you know, my mom has always been very loving to me. She's always been like, she's always believed in me, even though I've given her no reason to. She's just like, you'll get it. And, you know, there was periods of time that like you said, I didn't think I was worth a bit. And just to see my biggest influence on all that is just to see people's reaction to me as I'm like taking pride in what I do, taking pride in the work I do, even if it's when it's for somebody else. And just the reactions I get from that have been really amazing. I mean, the fact that somebody would ask me to be a manager at some point, you know, like I've never had that experience. They're like, you're overqualified. And just hearing that is I don't know, it's pretty new for me. That was pretty new for me at the point.
Yeah, I want to share some of the comments that people are sharing. Laura says, Marcel and Crystal, you're both so strong. I love it. Callie is saying, such an amazing testimony. Marcel, you've also shared your information here. Strive Staffing company providing felon-friendly work. And let's see, Fonda says, congratulations on your journey. I want to share some of the more, a few more of the things that you all have been able to accomplish. Let me take this down here. This one was one of your posts as well, Crystal. I think this is the last one I might have for you, but tell me about this moment here. This was 3 days ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about this moment. You were finally in your new place. All of the work, everything you've been building to is finally here. And you finally had the 2 clients fully admitted to the program. 2 more were coming in the next day. And everything you've been working for, you're realizing it.
Yeah, I got my butt handed to me that day. Let me tell you, I'm still like, this was the first week, and I'm like, after this is over, I'm going to bed. I'm dusted.
Yes.
that moment though, like I don't really know how to explain it, you know, feeling accomplished and even just knowing that, yeah, I got my butt handed to me. I worked my butt off. Now I'm getting my butt handed to me, but it's going to be okay because we made it. And we had 2 clients that came that satisfied and we did it. Greg, if you're still listening, he's my we. Greg and I did it. We pulled our stuff together. We worked well as a team and we made it happen. And this is my life now. This is my future. And I worked my butt off for it and I can't wait to build it, you know?
Yeah, that is so exciting. And tell people what the name of your business is and who's your target audience and what kind of difference you're hoping to make.
So the name of our treatment center is the Twin Cities Wellness Center and Recovery Gym. And, you know, we are a medium intensity step down program. So, but the difference between us and other treatment programs is we incorporate fitness into treatment.
Okay. And then let's see, we've got another comment, Callie, living life on life's terms. And Scott Fisk, so glad I get to be a part of your journey. Thank you all so much for commenting here. Marcel, I think I got a couple more points from you that you talked about recovery here, and you've kind of touched on it before, but I highlighted a couple of the posts that you shared, one in July and one in August. Just what is on the other side of it? It's so easy to get stuck in where we are in this moment, but so many of the messages that you share are inspiring to folks who may not be able to see that all this work that you're going through now is really going to be worth something. And so these were a couple of your posts where you talked about, you know, everything that you've been through, 6 years of recovery. You look back and think, what took so long? Now the ability to see your past with much more clarity, the idea of it being simple makes sense. Your success at this point is built off the backs of so many of your failures to get clean. You feel like your recovery is the product of putting the lessons of those many failed attempts together. You hate watching those you love struggle, but you just want to say to those strugglers, put the various lessons together. They are so much more powerful when looked at as a whole. The struggle is real, but it's you against you. You can do it. What do you want to leave people watching with that may be one of those long haul strugglers that you described in that post? What do you want them to know? What do you want them to hear?
Oh, just stop fighting it. I don't know what it is we fight for. You know, I don't know what I fought for 25 years. You know, why did I fight so hard to keep my lifestyle, you know, and keep my drugs and I just fought so hard to keep that. It was very hard to live that life. I know Crystal very well. We have expensive educations, and I'm not talking about her master's degree. You know, it's
right.
I have a very expensive education. It cost me a relationship with my son. You know, it cost me just feeling like I could retire someday. One of my biggest fears is not death. It's continuing to live in the same disease. I mean, I probably wouldn't die, and that sounds worse than death. You know, I'd probably just keep living and living in that capacity is you're just on pause. You're just on pause until you take yourself off pause, and that means doing everything differently. You know, if the opposite sex is how you fall off over and over, I was celibate for 3 years in my life. Like that's not something I would normally think about. But I was like, I have nothing to offer. You know, all I have to offer is insecurity if I don't have myself. Mm-hmm. So, you know, just making those hard decisions, like, and coming out slowly, you know, not worrying about making money coming out of prison, which was a benefit of some friends allowing me to stay with them while I was on ISR. Like I was set up for success. And then I also worked for myself, right? I was okay being broke. You know, I caught up on a lot of Netflix. You know, I was on ISR. I didn't have a lot of freedom. I was where I said I was going to be when I said I was going to be there. It's just doing the things that we constantly fail at, or not doing the things that we catch ourselves up on. I can't say it enough. If we don't learn from our from our mistakes, right? Then we just keep doing them. And I'm a product of that. 20-some years of doing the same thing over and over again, and only getting worse. You know, not getting any better in it.
Well, I want to share some great comments that are coming in support of you all. Amy says, Sean, Marcel, and Julie, you are the amazing stepping stones that recovery people need in their life. Be proud of how far you have come. Thanks for sharing that, Amy. And then Brianna says, we love you, Sean and Julie. Onyx and Living Word truly changes lives for the better. And Greg says, thank you so much, Crystal. I need to say you have such an incredible driving force of your dream. I'm grateful to be a part of it all. And Fonda shared, amazing. You are a true testimony to being successful and recovering addictive. So before we leave, you all have just been, I feel very full for getting a chance to be in this space with you, you know, provide space for you to share parts of your journeys in hopes that someone else can move forward. With a few minutes that we have left, I want to give each person here a chance. If you could leave everybody with something today, what would you want them to hear? And I'll start with you, Sean.
You know, I'm a follower of the way. I have a lot of faith in my good friend Jesus. And one of the things that I always see when I look at him is he doesn't see anybody as throwaway. There's no throwaway people. There's just people that are looking for a breakthrough, looking for freedom, and looking for a way out. So as you encounter somebody that may not look like you, maybe didn't make the decisions as you, I don't know about you, but when I was a teenager, I didn't always make the best decisions. And some of those decisions could have led me down just as bad a path as anybody who's on this show today. And just to realize that everybody out there is worth it. Everybody out there deserves a second chance, and nobody's worth throwing away. So that's what I want to leave everybody with today.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Sean. I'll go to you next, Julie.
I think Sean took some of my material on that. I got to say, what I want to leave people with is that you're worthy. You're worthy of doing something different. You're worthy of you know, putting together a brand new life that is beyond your wildest dream. And even when you are struggling and you don't feel it, if you surround yourself with people who see that in you, it is going to lift you up. And that is, you know, what I think is so critically important for everybody is they need people who can lift them up, and they need to start believing in themselves and know that they're worthy.
Thank you so much for that. Crystal, I'll go to you next.
So I second Julie and Sean. I'd say both of those. It's okay to ask for help. That was probably the hardest thing for me to learn. And once I did, I was able to accept it once I was able to ask for it. So don't be afraid to ask for help. It doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you stronger.
All right. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Marcel, you can close us out.
Two things. We do recover, and it gets easier. You just can't quit before the magic happens.
All right. Thank you so much, Marcel. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. Amy posted as well. She meant to mention you too, Crystal, in this. She followed up there. But yes, you are amazing stepping stones that recovery people need in their life. Be proud of how far you've come. Crystal as well. And then if you missed any portion of this, as soon as we wrap up the live, you can just click on the link. It'll replay. If you're watching on YouTube, you can watch it again there. You can also, let's see here. Here's Marcel. There we go. You can also watch it back on Facebook if you're watching from there too. Let's see here. We have Laura. This was really great on so many levels. Thank everyone for sharing. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. And then this needs to be heard by all. I will be forwarding this link to others I know. Thanks so much. Thank you all for sharing the space with me. Fonda, thank you for sharing your stories. It takes courage to do so, everyone. I'm so thankful. I wish Brandon was still here, that we had that meeting, and, you know, he put that in my mind to have this space. And so I'm more than happy to hold this kind of space for others too, because it never hurts to hear the journeys of the folks around us, because sometimes there's a little piece of their story that may inspire where we are in our lives, or inspire someone else in our lives, and hopefully push them forward too. So I'm so grateful for all of you sharing in this conversation today. If you are watching and something connected with you, still post in the comments. They'll be able to see this as well. It looks like, Brianna, I wholeheartedly believe these testimonies should be on national television. This is what changes lives. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.